that x inside the absolute value could have been positive or it could have been negative, okay? So we can have that x plus 3 could be equal to the positive value, or x plus 3 could be equal to the negative value. When we split up the equation into its two components, we have a positive and a negative, and we drop the absolute values. Okay, questions about that step? We can have either of these, either or. We have to solve for both possibilities. Okay, so Brandy, what am I going to do to solve the left equation?
Subtract 7.
We're trying to make x by itself, so
Add.
so well, subtract was right, but what number are we going to get? We're trying to remove something from x.
3.
Yeah, so minus 3 on both sides. So I'm going to have x equals positive 4. And we're done with that one. And we're going to do the exact same process with this one, because that's how we solve for x. This time we get negative 10. So we end up with two possible solutions, okay? So you could think about this. Absolute value of x plus 3, that's just shifting our original to the left 3 units. And we're asking from negative 3, how far away is 7? So on one of them, you could have it at 4, or we're asking what number is 7 units away. So on one of them, you could have 4, and one of them, you could have negative 10. That last explanation was kind of convoluted, I'm sorry. But this is how you solve it, and both of those boxed in values are the answer. Okay. Questions on that example? Okay, if there are no questions there, we'll do another example. So in this example, I'm going to have a 2 outside of my absolute value. Okay, now, in order to solve this like I did the last one, I have to get rid of everything outside of the absolute value first. So before I can proceed like I did at the in the first example, I have to get rid of everything outside of the absolute value. And in this case, that's going to be the 2. Okay. Also, guys, my second period B-Day class asked if I have to have the absolute value in an absolute value equation, or if they could just like not have it. And the whole idea of this thing is that we have to have an absolute value bar. So I don't know. I think that they thought it looked like a 1. So I like extended it for them to make it clear that they're bars and not 1s. Anyways, how are we going to get rid of this 2? Francesca? So what operation is going on between this 2 and the whole like absolute value chunk right there?
So, multiply it?
Yeah, so what's the opposite of multiplication?
Division.
Yeah, so I need to divide by 2 on both sides. So divide by 2, divide by 2. And what's 28 divided by 2? Francesca? Half of 28.
14.
Yeah, good. Thank you. And then we would, from here, I'm totally running out of room. From here, we would split into our two equations, our two possibilities. So we would have one equation where x minus 8 was equal to 14, and one equation where x minus 8 was equal to negative 14. I would add 8 to both sides in both equations. And in the first one, I should get that x is equal to 22. And in the second one, so plus 8, this is 14, sorry. Negative 14 plus 8 should give me x equals negative 6. Okay, so what questions do you guys have on that example? Okay, if there are no questions, do you guys need time to write it down or are you ready to go? Tonight, are you ready to go? Give me a thumbs up. / Francesca. Now it's switched to your screen. Francesca's good. Tonight, you can say something even though your microphone's off and it'll flip to your screen. And you may thumbs up or down.
I'm good.
Okay, and then Brandy, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I don't know if Erin's still here, but hopefully she's good. Okay, so we'll flip and we'll do two more examples. So in my first example, I'm going to add some extra stuff outside of the absolute value. So I'm going to have 3 times the absolute value of, 4x plus 2 minus 7 equals 11. Okay, so I've got a lot of stuff to get rid of outside of the absolute value first. I've got this 3 to get rid of, and I got this negative 7 to get rid of. Okay. Let's see. Tanaya, what am I gonna do first?
You cannot hear me. Wouldn't you do division first?
You could, but then you would get like negative 7 over 3 and 11 over 3, and those are kind of obnoxious fractions to work with. So
we add 7.
Yeah, good job. So add 7, and I get 3. Absolute value of 4x plus 2 is equal to 18. And now what?
Then we divide.
Yeah. And 18 over 3 is
6.
Yep. And now we have our absolute value by itself. So now we can split it into its two pieces. 4x plus 2 equals positive 6. And 4x plus 2 equals negative 6. Then I'm going to subtract 2 from each side to get 4x equals 4 on the left-hand equation, and 4x equals negative 8 on the right-hand equation, and then divide by 4 on both sides of both equations. Okay, and these are our two solutions. My sister-in-law runs the daycare that my daughter goes to, And there's this boy in her class named Silas. And I don't know, last week, I don't know, she like said, "Bye, Silas," when she was leaving. My sister-in-law asked her if she was flirting with Silas. And so now it's been like this big deal at home. She's like joking around about flirting with Silas. And my sister-in-law just sent me, apparently Gemma has been telling Silas all morning that I'm flirting with you. Okay, so we have these two answers. What questions do you guys have about that particular example? Is it straightforward? Do you get it? Is there a step that didn't make sense to you? Okay, I'm going to assume that you get it. We're going to move on to the next example. If I am incorrect in that assumption, please say something. Okay, so this next example is a special case. My handwriting got bad for that one. Okay, so maybe I have an equation like this. X minus 5. I can't write. Whenever I do absolute values, I frequently accidentally put a round parenthesis instead of an absolute value bar at the end. Plus 8 equals 2. Okay. Now, what am I going to do to solve? What's the first step?
Subtract 8.
Perfect. Subtract 8. And so I'll have the absolute value of x minus 5 equals, what's 2 minus 8? Brandy?
2 minus 8?
Yeah.
-6?
Perfect. Now, I'm going to just sit here for a minute. Does anybody see anything wrong with this?
It's a negative.
Yeah.
Yeah, the absolute value cannot be a negative. So this is the issue. Okay. Now, this symbol here, like a sideways hashtag, means contradiction. We have a contradiction. Okay, and it's right here. We said that an absolute value can never equal a negative number. I'll write that out.
So when we get a negative number, it'll be automatic contradiction, like as the answer?
The answer, so the final answer
Okay.
is no solution. Okay, so it can never equal a negative. Yep, so if you get here, your absolute value is isolated. There's nothing around it. And you have it equal to a negative number. You can just stop and say, that's not possible. And then just don't do anything else. Okay, those are our notes for today. We are done. So what questions do you guys have? Okay, there should be some practice problems for classwork in the form of a practice quiz. And then there should also be homework on there that you do on notebook paper, just like normal. And if you guys don't have any questions about this material, you are free to go. I do want to ask all of you real quick, do you guys feel like I'm going too fast? Or are we going at a reasonable speed? How do you feel about it?
I think it's good. Like, I don't feel like it's too much, like, at once.
I have in my